Were you physically attracted to any of these women? In a desirous type of way, if you get my drift.
No, I wasn't. I mean, I tried. I wanted to be, and I tried. One thing I want to mention that I just really appreciate about my dad, even though he's very devout Roman Catholic, in the course of those 16 years, he could tell I wasn't happy. And he came to me one day and he said, "Brian, I know this doesn't agree with the church, but it appears to me that there are gay people in the world and they really should just accept themselves the way they are." And at that time, I said, "You know what, Dad, I don't appreciate that at all, because I feel like Satan is using you to tempt me, and I will never believe that. I don't believe that."
So for the longest period of time, you believed what Leviticus would say. This was a sin, and you thought that the feeling this way was wrong, or what some of the ministers who have been on who have said the same type of thing, that this is a sin. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, okay. I felt it was a sin.
So you really did believe that?
Absolutely.
Right.
I wrote about it. I talked about it. I was always out, even during those years, as someone who was ex-gay. I've never hid this, which I'm grateful for, because it's been a lot easier path. But yeah, I was very, very against gay people accepting themselves.
Now, I think it was Pastor Rule. I'm not sure if it was Pastor Rule from Pleasant Valley Baptist Church or whether it was Pastor Jordan from Redeemer Lutheran Church. One of them said, and I think you listened to the shows, that you weren't given, you didn't go to the right place in order to try to convert in terms of that. You felt you did everything you could to try to make that adjustment?
Well, you can see me here shaking my head. I mean, 16 years, literally praying every single day, thousands of dollars of counseling, exorcisms, reading all the books by Frank Worthen, Joseph Nicolosi with Narth, Leanne Payne, Joe Dallas, Andy Comiskey. You know, just every effort that could be made. I believe I made every effort. And again, I'm telling you, the fundamentalists will say, but you were successful. 16 years of celibacy.
Okay.
So, but that's not what I consider success anymore. If I could just say why I finally came out a second time. After 16 years of effort, I had a conversation with God where I basically said, you know, God, I do not understand how this is making me any straighter or really honoring you in any way. The absence of something rather than the presence of something. It wasn't that I had the presence of love and intimacy and closeness with a woman. It was I was living out the absence of a so-called sin. So in 2000, I called my parents and I said to my dad, I said, "Do you still believe the way that you've said before?" And he always says it doesn't agree with the church, but I personally think that gay people should accept themselves the way they are. I said, you know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to come out again. Can you and Mom still love me? And he said, of course we can love you, and we always will. And so immediately after that, I joined an organization which is here in town called Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. They meet at Stonewall Alliance Center on the first Monday of every month at 7 o'clock. And I started attending that, and for the first few months, I cried through those meetings because I still hated the fact that I was gay. I hated my voice when I listened to it on a recorder. I hated any sort of effeminacy.
Nobody likes their voice when they listen to it. Okay, don't feel bad about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I had to get over my own homophobia, because many of the things that people find offensive about gays, I found offensive about gays. I grew up in this society. I was trained to think the same way that the rest of you were trained to think.
Now, right now, if you could wave a wand and be heterosexual instead of homosexual, if you could just do it, and it could happen magically, would you wave that wand?
Boy, I've been asked this so many times, and you know what? Sometimes I give one answer and sometimes I give another, because I'm always thinking about new aspects. If I could wave a wand and be bisexual, I would take it. Mm-hmm. I'd have so many more options in the world. To me, the kind of human being that I am today, I am a far more caring, loving, embracing human being. And accepting of people regardless of their religion, of their sexual orientation, of their race, of what. I feel that I've become a far more loving person by being gay than if I hadn't been gay. I think I would probably be an extremely opinionated, condescending, judgmental human being if I hadn't been gay. And so some people might say that was Paul's, for me, a thorn in the flesh, from Paul's perspective, that God used for good. I don't think I would wave a wand and suddenly be straight.
But I tell you, I would be crucified on this show if I didn't come on and at least challenge you just slightly and ask you if you would be willing to come on and speak with some of the pastors who believe that homosexuality is a sin, and engage them in a discussion, one of respect, no name calling, no pointing fingers. Would you be interested? Because I'm not qualified. I say this all the time. I am a arbiter, not even an arbiter. I'm just a moderator is what I want to say. I don't want to take a stance, but I will let other people make the case for the other side. Would you be interested in doing that?
I would love to do that. And I want to say that my experience with Christian people is that they are very loving human beings for the most part. I feel like they want the best as they see it. And so I would enjoy talking with them because I understand what it's like to be on that side. Mm-hmm. I know what it's like to argue from that side. To me, the gospel message is love. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And this is the heart of Christ, is what I believe.
I appreciate the civility that we've had in this discussion thus far. Everybody has a different tone. Some of those who are on the conservative side who say that homosexuality is a sin, some will come across more gentle than others, but every person I've heard from, and some who've been on the show and some who haven't been on the show, have all said the exact same words. They are homosexuals, all sinners are welcome into our church. I've never come across anybody that says, no, we will close the doors. In fact, just the opposite. The doors are wide open. And on the other side, people who believe that homosexuality is not a sin and that it's okay, the ones that I've talked to have been very civil likewise, and even has gone so far. Joe Rogers, who was on this show, said there are many people in the gay community who attack the church unfairly for their beliefs and name call the church. And I just from my observation for 2 weeks of doing this has been, at least in the city of Chico, within the churches here, it's been very civil.
The thing I need to point out about that, though, is that most of those fundamentalist kinds of churches are very civil as long as you are willing to come in as a sinner. Mm-hmm. If you come in as a Christian who says, I'm okay being gay, and yes, I have a responsibility to be an ethical gay person, to behave in a responsible and a loving and committed way to another man, if me being a man, then no, you won't be allowed to be there if you're going to say that. In other words, I can't go into Calvary Chapel or any of these other churches and start saying that it's okay to be gay. Mm-hmm. They would ask me to leave. They do it politely, but they would ask me to leave. Okay.
Likewise, if you went to the Stonewall Alliance, if one of the fundamentalists went there and tried to tell people, no, what you're doing is wrong, and et cetera, likewise, the people at the Stonewall Alliance would probably suggest that this isn't the place for you to be. Fair enough?
I suppose so, yes.
Okay. Brian would like to make himself available to any church in Chico that would like for him to share his story.